video and audio. And once you hear the recording in progress.
Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order this May 13, 2026 meeting of the Broome County Industrial Development Agency. First order of business is to remind everybody of our conflict of interest policy. Everyone has the duty to act in the best interest of this organization. In keeping with our conflict of interest policy, I ask each board member to disclose any actual, potential, or perceived conflicts related to matters on today's agenda. If you believe you have a conflict, please state it now, write it down on the form that is being provided so it can be noted in the minutes. If a conflict arises during the discussion, please bring it to our attention immediately. If a conflict is identified, the board member must exit the meeting while the item is being discussed. Transparency protects both the integrity of our decision-making and trust placed in this board. I saw the form went around. Has everybody had a chance to complete it? Looks like they have, so let's move on. First order of business. The board has received the minutes of our last meeting. Are there any additions, edits, or corrections to those minutes? There being none, I'd like a motion to approve receiving the minutes of our March 18, 2026 meeting into the record. Thanks, Dan. A second. Thanks, Kevin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? No objections. We've come to that part of our agenda where we have public comment. Anyone wishing to speak on any matter concerning the IDA, feel free to do so at this time. All we ask is that you state your name, address, and limit your comments to no more than 5 minutes. That's your cue, John.
You want me to do the disclaimer before I speak, the one that you read after I speak, I can do it.
No, we know what it's gonna be.
Davis College, I spoke to the Johnson City Village Board. I can't find anything in their application, and wasn't that thorough, that indicated any plan to rent by the bedroom. There's nothing that I can find, and yet they're renting by the bedroom, $800 a bedroom. In other words, they're putting people together. That's not my idea of a luxury apartment, you know? I mean, if it's an apartment and two people come in and they sign the lease and they're husband and wife, or they're shacking up, that's an apartment. This is a rooming house. And I told the Johnson City Village Board, and I'll tell you the same thing, you got played. You got played. There must be an explanation for this. They said $1,575, it's $800 a bedroom, that's $1,600. If you look, I counted the meters out there, and I'm sort of not, didn't do it thoroughly because all the meters aren't in yet. And I haven't seen the inside, but other than adding an elevator shaft and chopping down some trees and paving the blacktop, there's no great improvements that one can see. And the whole project, having been in that building, the whole project didn't sound, it sounded like it was gonna be a skin job, you know, as they say in the used car business. And I think that's what it was. I think that's what it was. But certainly there's some explanation. Hey, why are you guys renting the bedroom? And should the other tenants know that? In other words, if I'm on my honeymoon and I rent that nice little, very small chicken coop apartment, and they're getting $1,575, shouldn't I know that they're renting by the bedroom? Shouldn't the tenants know that? So, I mean, you know, I don't like the real estate business. My father was in it. It's a horrible business. Well, he had a heart attack at 38. You know, so I don't like it. I find the people approximators, exaggerators, very few of them are well-funded, and this is the primary reason that I don't like real estate people. Now, extracting benefits, people come in, they file an application, they give you a narrative. You give them the benefits based on that. Now, do they live up to their promises? Let's talk about Matt Paulus. How many years has that been? At both locations, at both the Ansco and the Victory Lofts. He has not lived up to what he said he was gonna do in the mixed use area. So how long is that gonna go on? Is a clawback in order? Is a clawback in order? You know, I don't know, but he didn't live up to what it was. And he got benefits based on the application. So is that fraud? Is that fudging? Do you care? Do you care to go after these people that essentially are in default of your contractual arrangements? Interesting thing going on in a school district here in New York State. Pilots expired and that has caused havoc in the school district because it's a major parcel and it's fooling with their tax cap. And people are outraged, they're going to those meetings. And perhaps just for the board's edification, because you know, your responsibilities here are big, otherwise you wouldn't have the insurance, right? So you have a duty, because I've sued enough companies where I know the difference between a management problem and a board problem. So you have a fiduciary duty to see that these things are followed up on. And perhaps, you know, in your strategic planning, you might provide the public a list of
We've got 1
those,
minute left.
expiration dates on these pilots, because that's very crucial to planning. I mean, if people are putting together a school budget or a municipal budget, they should know that. On the well, I don't know if you'll have any, I assume that at some point you're gonna have something to do with the Vestal Nursing Home, but that might be premature for you yet. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Anyone, other comments? There being none, we'll close the public comment. I would note that while it's our policy to provide members of the public the opportunity to comment and share their views, the board does not engage in any discussion or respond to comments in the public comment section. Our decision not to respond should not be interpreted as agreement or disagreement with any particular statements made, and all comments are, of course, respectfully received and are part of our record. Let's move on to the executive report. Stacy.
Okay, I do have some reports. First, I'll reference materials that are provided in your folder this month. As noted in our audit and finance committee meeting earlier, you do have a projected reimbursement date for a number of grant initiatives of funds owed to the IDA, including 2 Fast New York grants totaling $1 million, 1 NYSEG Economic Development Outreach grant totaling $150,000, an ESD reimbursement grant in the amount of $33,000, and a sale of land at $40,000, totaling $1,223,000 coming back to the IDA. We are working on all the necessary documentation for the grants and expect to receive those this year. In addition, you also have what we try to provide you on a quarterly basis is the status and progress on projects that have received benefits from the IDA, as well as projects I would say are not fully developed, but projects we are watching or initiatives we are leading. So I can comment on one anticipated closing for this year thus far, which will be fall of 26. That is the YWCA intergenerational project that we expect to close in sometime in late September, early October. We typically align those with the state's the state tax credit closing date as well, but a number of other housing projects that are in the pipeline, not fully developed yet, but we're in conversations with. Other updates on 600 Main Street, which we have received a New York State Fast Track C award. Total project cost, the award was roughly $11.3 million. Total project cost, and we have reconciled this with New York State, as roughly about $7.5 million. So we have begun the site plan approval process. We were, Amy and I were at the Town of Union Planning Board meeting last evening. That is the first step in getting this to the ready to put the fill down. First step, important step last night was the Town Planning Board's determination that an updated H&H or hydrological and hydraulic study was sufficient to satisfy the increase in fill. We had initially projected about a 14-acre pad. We've actually been able to expand that to about 16.5 acres, which results in about 42,000 cubic, no, 400, wait.
hundred and forty-two thousand cubic yards of dirt.
Right, which is an increase of about 42,000 from
Yes.
the initial projections. So that's a lot of dirt that's gonna be coming to that site.
One site.
All for one site, but that was an important step for the town planning board. They did deem that sufficient, so we have another meeting planned. The town, I should say, the Town of Union Planning Board has a public hearing planned for June 9th. We do plan to host kind of an open house to the community, especially that neighborhood to the west of the site, to outline the renderings, how we plan to fill and level and elevate that site moving forward. Again, with work planned to begin in summer of this year. Chase Construction and Gorick will be doing that work for us. Broome Tech Park updates, not a lot to update. We had our public hearing on April 23rd at Johnson City High School. We have, at the request of one of our involved agencies, we did extend the public comment period to May 18th. So that will close at the end of day Monday. We're still receiving comments in various forms. And over the summer months, we'll aggregate those comments and they will become part of the draft final GEIS or finding statements that will ultimately come back to the board likely this fall. But in that time, concurrently, we're meeting with involved agencies like the DOT, the DEC, Department of Health, County Highway Department, et cetera, and as well planning a lot of community engagements or town hall style meetings. I will give the board the calendar for those once they are complete. Two quick updates on initiatives that the IDA is funding, planning initiatives the IDA is funded. We had Colliers in town, Colliers Engineering Group, who is leading the effort at the master for a master plan for the Huron campus. They were in market at the end of April. We walked the entirety of the Huron campus. So they're really getting a handle on all of the facilities, the infrastructure, anything that would be included ultimately in a master facility plan. And equally, additionally, on April 30th, we had CARP Strategies, who is leading the planning initiative for a regional advanced manufacturing training center. We are looking at a site potentially in the city of Binghamton for that. This whole concept is to kind of build out a workforce hub, community hub akin to the Northland Training Center out in East Buffalo, which has been modeled by the state. So we're moving forward with that. Staff will be presenting to Broome Tioga Workforce and their board on June 12th on the IDA, on our assistance and programs, making stronger connections with their new director at BT Workforce. The county executive and I will be recorded for a segment of WCNY, which is the Syracuse area public station. They have a program called On the Money, where we get to highlight projects and initiatives happening here in Broome County. That will take place next Monday. And we'll also run on WSKG. Lastly, we were able to attend the BAE Systems grand opening of their phase 1 expansion and building 258 at Huron, which was a very exciting event. That expansion will include, I think, up to 130 new jobs, all focused on the electrification of aircraft technology. While they did not pursue any financial benefits from the IDA, we were very part of a group with the county, state, and federal officials to make sure that that expansion happened here because they were looking at other BAE locations. So thrilled to have them, make that further commitment to growing here in Broome. So it was a great event. So
Very good. Thank you, Stacy. Comprehensive. Does anybody have questions for Stacy? There being none, let's move on to the interim financial and loan activity report. Are there any questions regarding the March 31, 2026 or April 30, 2026 interim financial reports? Okay. Any questions regarding the April 30, 2026 loan activity report? There being none, we'll move on to new business. I'll read the resolution, ask for a motion, or from the committee that sets and moves it forward. At that point, we can discuss it before voting. Item number 6 on our agenda, a resolution authorizing the transfer of $908,000 of treasury notes maturing in 2026 into the agency's operating account in accordance with the agency's investment policies. This come from finance?
It does. There's a motion to approve.
Second? Thanks, Kevin. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Let's move on to item number 7. Resolution authorizing the agency to extend its software contract with Placer AI at a cost of $11,760 as more fully set forth in the resolution. It's also come from finance.
It does. There's a motion to approve.
Second. Mike got that one. Stacy, you have anything to say about it?
On Placer AI?
Yeah.
I do not.
Okay. Let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Item number 8. Resolution authorizing the agency to enter a 3-year contract to provide architectural, engineering, and civil and/or environmental services as more fully set forth in the resolution. This comes from governance. I move it forward. Have a second? Thanks, Dan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Item number 9. Let's keep the train rolling. Resolution accepting an application of Pietro Properties R.E. LLC, providing a sales and use tax exemption benefit and an amount currently not estimated to exceed $8,800 and making the required seeker finding as more fully set forth in the resolution. This also comes forward from government as a motion. A second? Thanks, Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Of course not. It's unanimous. Number 10. Resolution accepting an application from 499 Plaza Drive LLC, providing a sales and use tax exemption benefit in an amount currently not estimated to exceed $95,600 and making the required seeker finding as more fully set forth in the resolution. This comes forward as a motion from governance. Have a second. Thanks, Dan. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Item number 11, resolution appointing Jeff Lake to the Business Retention and Expansion Fund Loan Program and the Business Development Revolving Loan Fund Program as an advisory loan committee member. Natalie.
Thank you, Jim. Peter Newman has recommended Jeff Lake for the advisory loan committee to support the BDF and the BRE loan committees. As you will see from his resume, Jeff has extensive background in banking and would be a very good fit to the committees.
And I would note that he's now retired, so unlikely to have conflicts.
Correct.
And he sings well.
Yes,
Yes,
go
he plays a
pretty much
mean trumpet.
anywhere in town and hear him.
Mhm.
Does anybody have any questions for Natalie about Jeff? We have a motion. Thanks, Kevin. Second, Nick? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Item number 12, resolution extending the time to complete and present to this board the final generic environmental impact statement to August 1, 2026. Stacy?
Yes, so this item just provides us the opportunity, if needed, to extend the time in which to present ultimately to the board and then publish the final generic environmental impact statement. This just gives us the ability to be a little more nimble if necessary, if need be. We're not totally sure of the volume. The volume has increased in the last couple of weeks of comments, and we do expect at least one more lengthy document to come from one of the municipalities. So just gives us wiggle room essentially to make sure we're being thorough in our review and comment, because we are required to comment back to every comment we receive. So
I'm curious is the volume of comments more or less than you anticipated? Or about the same?
slightly less, when you think it's definitely increased. It
Yeah.
started off more slowly than I expected. I guess it is a very lengthy document, so I know it takes some time to get through, but about the same to maybe a little bit less than I thought we'd get,
Okay,
to be
Thank
honest.
And most are similar.
Yeah, I would say so. It's a varied, a lot of our questions, a lot of the comments are more in the form of questions. things that would naturally come at a later date or in the finding statement. So we have to weed through, you know, what we can address now as part of the,
That's great.
yeah. So, but, and a lot of positive comments as well. So
Okay.
it's been a very mixed, it's been a very, varied, set of comments so far.
Receiving positive comments as well.
We are, yes, we are.
That's good.
It's
That's
good to
good.
see, yeah.
That's surprising.
That's good.
Usually.
Yeah, well, the public hearing was pretty
Yeah.
good, right?
I thought so.
Yeah.
Balanced.
Very good. Thanks, Stacy.
Mhm.
We have a motion.
Motion.
Thanks, Dan. Thank Kevin, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. We have a couple of minutes because we moved pretty expeditiously. I noticed in our packet that there was some marketing
Thank you.
reports. One thing, 2 minutes and.
Yeah, thank you. Two things I forgot to do. First, I'll get into these, in a second, but I also wanted to welcome and introduce Katarina Cassidy. Katarina is a graduate, soon to be graduate with a 4+1 program and, at Binghamton University, receiving her master's in public administration. She's going to be with us through the summer, and working on a number of initiatives with us. So
Welcome.
wanted to make sure I did that. And you have a number of documents in your folders. This one under the Rieger Marketing brand is our traditional, what we do, our CRNE or marketing, essentially to make sure we're getting out there talking about our loans and assistance programs. So you have that quarterly report. They're continuing to perform very well. I'll have Meg and Amy get into any specific questions you might have. The second document, the second set of documents, I should say, you have one also from Rieger and then one from internal. Lauren White was a Marcom intern with us, created some social ads. We wanted to ensure that when we published the DGEIS, that it got a very broad reach, because we wanted to make sure that the community as a whole had the opportunity to find it, to access it, to review it, and ultimately comment, or that they had awareness of our public hearing. So we did do a small media buy through Rieger, and you have the performance statistics that ended on May 8th. Thank you. And the Tech Park social ads coincided with that purchase. So a lot of great visibility. Again, I think one of our goals is to ensure that the community as a whole have access to this document and are aware of what we're trying to accomplish at the Broome Tech Park. So they perform very well. And so I think, yeah, just wanted to share that information with you guys.
Thank you. Questions or additional comments? Are we happy with the results?
We are, yes.
Okay.
I think our click-through rates continue to perform well. I think time on our site, time on, what people are looking for. Well, the hardest one, I think, is always the conversions, view through visits, because, I know that's something that comes up periodically. Because it doesn't necessarily lead to a direct interaction, but the awareness is there that may also, bear fruit later on. That's something we don't know as much, but from an awareness perspective, I think they perform very well.
Do you have any suggestions to improve performance?
On conversion, I know we've talked about submitting forms. We try to make sure certain documents you have to download so we can capture email information. We don't get a lot of traffic other than that.
It's tricky to have conversion also. Meg and I talk about this all the time when we're not necessarily like selling a product that the broader community is
Yeah.
being the advertisement is going to engage with. So that's where Rieger talks to us often about like the importance of an awareness campaign still over like what traditional consumer metrics are.
Okay.
Especially because a lot of the developers, I think, are also referring to us. They're also making phone calls directly to us rather than
Yeah.
reaching out via email. When they reach out via email, though, that is another way to know that they did go to our website, because that's where we found our info email. But largely, our campaigns are gonna be pretty much, awareness based rather than conversion based, just because of the nature of the work that we
Yeah,
do.
of course.
Mhm.
Just, if you could refresh my recollection, was the download of the DGIS require email address?
It does not, because that would limit accessibility to the document, and we
Okay.
talked a lot about our team with that, and we decided against doing that. Just to ensure that there was no technical challenges with it. We did initially try setting it up that way and it did not work. So we
Okay.
quickly scrapped that within the first hour of it being published.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions?
You know where the clicks are coming from?
I should be
Geography in
included
here.
there. I don't have the numbers in front of me,
I can-
but
I can
it's-
give you
it'll
a
break-
s-
yeah, it'll
if I
break
can
down
read
by,
it.
like, Socials versus direct.
Oh,
It's like it's all evening research
yeah.
I think that we're the most popular by the time folks get home from work.
and have a couple of cocktails and we look
Yeah.
better.
We wanna go to bed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at this all.
Might need it to get through the 1100 page.
Yeah.
I think, I know we captured geography, I think, I don't know. if
I
it's
saw it on the G,
in
yeah.
Here, yeah,
I can always send those back to
Yeah.
too, if I can see it on the back end as well.
Maybe fun enough.
yes, yeah, I can't read these with my glasses, they're too small. But yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on that? Thank you for putting that together. Very insightful. Any other business?
One comment about the public hearing, I've been around in a few years and I've seen them go sideways and I thought it went really well, it was handled really well by the new team, so
Thanks
congratulations.
very much. Thank you for being there. It was great to have all of you there and, we had a nice turnout. I think it's important for everybody to hear there's a lot of good that's gonna come out of this project and it's great to have our labor friends there. They show up as always for us and, that was, this project will realize a lot of long-term construction jobs as well. So yeah, we're excited. I think the more we get out there and educate people, the more excited they're getting. We just, Amy and I did a walk through, there's an old school in town of Maine, J. Ralph Ingalls, which they're trying to convert to a community center. We think it's gonna be a great location to host town hall style, just Q&A. Let's just, eliminate these myths that are kind of floating around and just have, of course, we gotta get through this formal process with,
Right, you don't wanna do anything.
yeah, with the DGEIS and so, yeah. It's been good though.
Thank you for those who went. I apologize for not being here. That was my first vacation in 5 years.
I know, I felt terrible moving it during that. but
That's
you-
okay.
we're glad you got
That's
some
okay. You
time
got me
too.
out of it, so.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But,
thanks to those of you who were there. We do appreciate it. Good job, Stacy, and actually the whole team. It was
It was great.
moving effort, so. Do we have anything else? If not, can we have a motion to adjourn? So it's Nick, second Kevin, all in favor? Yes. We adjourn?